Hello my friends, this is Alien Contactee Linol Anderson here with you guys with a brand new YouTube BitChute video. And in today's video, I got a little bit of a concerning message for y'all. It's going to be a Pleiadian message, that's right. I had some communications with the Pleiadians, some could say straight from the king himself. And you know, it's concerning. As I said, it's nothing to be in fear about, but it's concerning, and it's regarding the world situation, what's going on in the world right now, and what could be coming in the very near future. We're going to be talking about WW3 situation and the developments with that, and also what's going around with that bird flu. Oh yeah, we're going to get into all that today, so let's just get into it then. Just going to encourage you guys, hit that subscribe button if you enjoy today's video, and hit the like button as well. Helps old Lionel out with the algorithms. Alright, my friends. So the channeling, he wanted me to tell you guys about the nature of reality real quick before we get to the other things. And, you know, I speak about this kind of stuff on my Patreon all the time. I've spoken about this notion before, but I really feel like everybody really needs to hear this, and the Pleiadians felt that as well. But definitely check out my Patreon, my friends. I'll leave the link down below because we have this kind of content all the time there. But let's just break it down this way. This is what the Pleiadians communicated with me, and it goes like this, okay? We're in a simulation, okay? A holographic simulation of consciousness, and this simulation we're in is much like a video game, okay? You're literally in a video game, a super advanced, like super advanced video game that was pretty much hijacked by the dark forces and it's turned into a realm to harvest our low vibrational energies, okay? But nonetheless, it still very much so is a game. It's the game called life. Right? They have that board game, or the Earth game, you could call it, okay? And, you know, its difficulty level for our generations anyways, and the previous generations, it was on kind of an easy mode, yeah? Things weren't perfect, but things were a lot better than now, right? And then as the years went on, okay, it went up to medium difficulty. And now, my friends, the difficulty has been on hard, especially since 2020. Everybody noticed things have been getting harder and harder. Well, Pleiadians want me to give a warning to humanity that the difficulty level is about to raise once again, okay? To difficult. It's been hard, it's going to get to difficult soon. And there's even levels after that. There's expert mode, okay? It's just going to get more and more harder from here. And you got to look at it just like a video game, right? The video game starts off easier, but as you progress to the other levels, it gets harder and harder. Well, humanity is about to take that next step to the difficult level. All right? Many people are already experiencing the difficult level. Okay? So pretty much, Pleiadians communicated to me, in this game, the way you beat the game, okay, is to not fall into fear. Okay, because as the game gets harder, it's easier to fall into fear. And the way you lose the game is falling into fear, because once you start falling into fear, you start manifesting a very negative timeline for yourself. Because you are a creator being, end of the day, a divine creator being. So once you start falling into the fear and falling into other low vibrational actions, that's the reality that starts to manifest for you. All right? The way you win the game is to not be in fear. And no matter what comes up, you're not scared. You're just observing. You are the observer. Okay? That's how you beat the game. To be in a state of love, not fear, a state of neutrality as well. And pretty much you beat the game by not playing the game. When you start falling into those lower emotions and whatnot, you're playing the game, the Matrix, okay? But to take a step back, not be in the fear, and just observe it, well, you're not going to be harvested of your loosh. You're going to have a positive mindset. You're going to manifest a positive reality for yourself. But as the game gets harder and harder, it becomes more difficult. not to fall into the fear, because you're observing all the things that are taking place in the world, and it's pretty crazy stuff. And things are about to get crazier, okay? So I wanted to talk to you guys now about a few of the things going on in the world that we need to be aware of. Because, you know, Pleiadians aren't going to tell me to give you a message like this unless, they're thinking that there's a possibility things could get a little crazy in the coming years, maybe even the coming year, okay? But remember what we said about the fear part, because that's vital to this message, to not be in fear. We need to observe these things. By observing these things, we can protect ourselves, we could prepare, and we could possibly avert any of these things and stop these things from happening, okay? We don't ignore the negative, we face the negative, and we come up with the solutions, and we know that whatever happens, we're going to be okay, because we're not falling to the fear to lose the game, okay? So what is happening? Well, massive developments in the WW3 situation, okay? Did you know just like a week ago or so, Ukraine struck inside of Russia and took out one of their missile defense systems? And that's not even the worst part. They struck it with United States weapons, and just a couple days before that, old Biden gave the permission to Ukraine to use United States weapons. Well, old Vlad took this as a major escalation. He officially declared the United States an enemy of Russia. Okay? And he says, hey, you're going to allow them to use your weaponry? Then I'm going to give some of my allies the weapons, and they could use it on you if they have to. And that's what they're doing. They're planning to do. And it involves Cuba. Okay? Just a couple days ago, there was a submarine and warships by Florida, by the United States. And now they're stationed in Cuba. And of course, they were from Russia. That's right, the Russians were floating around right around the United States, probably to show them that they mean business. And now they're stationed in Cuba, and they're probably giving Cuba the weaponry and everything. That's right, I got a video to show you guys, okay? That's going to speak about this. But remember, before I show you, do not fall into fear. If anything, you should just be prepared. So before I show you the video, just a quick shout out to our sponsors, okay? At Heaven's Harvest. We got food buckets, organic food buckets, okay? This is great to have. This is restorable food, and it's good for up to 25 years, and it's great for emergencies. So make sure you look into getting food. You could also get seeds, because if the worst happens, okay, this is a seed kit. If the worst happens, we're going to need to grow our own food at some point, because eventually anything you stock up on is eventually going to run out. So we need to grow our own food at some point. So make sure you got the seeds, you got the food. They also have emergency water filters there. The link is down below in the description. And I even have a coupon code there for a 10% off discount and free shipping in the United States. I really recommend you guys look into that, and as soon as possible, because any day something could happen. But remember, no fear, just be prepared. Now let's get to that video talking about a possible new Cuban Missile Crisis, I guess they're calling it. Take a look.
Something very big is about to happen, and we better be paying attention to it. And there are like 5 huge news developments that we need to cover today, which have massive implications for Western powers. And I'm going to show you something also that's very, very strange that NATO just did, which no mainstream media are covering right now, and it's very concerning. But first, let's start with something that's coming to the Western Hemisphere. On Friday, Russian President Putin started sending a massive armada of battleships headed right for Cuba, right off of Florida's coast.
Several Russian warships are on their way to Cuba this morning. That happened back in the 1960s, the Cuban Missile Crisis. It was just a little thing. Comes days after a warning from Vladimir Putin that Russia could provide weapons to actors that would then attack Western targets over those countries' support of Ukraine.
Early this coming week, if you're standing in Key West, Florida, using your binoculars, you will likely see something that looks like this. Yes, Russian warships performing massive military training exercises, docking in Havana Harbor, right in our backyard. How the hell did this happen? Incompetence, failure on the part of America's leadership is how it happened, that we are sitting now on the brink of another Cuban Missile Crisis. Yeah, nuclear-powered Russian submarines, destroyers with cruise missiles that can easily attack American cities, and warships that make our Navy ships seem old just by modern standards. Just look at this map.
This is Havana, where the Russian fleet will be docking. And this is Miami, the closest American city. The air distance between Havana and Miami is barely 366 kilometers. Zircon, like we told you, can travel up to 1,000 kilometers, meaning it can strike as far as South Carolina.
You probably haven't seen this on the news in the United States at all because they don't want you to know about it. Just like commenter Denise says right here, what's so crazy here in the United States? None of this is in the news. Yes, Denise, exactly, Denise, because they are hiding it. Wait until you see what else they're hiding.
There you go, my friends. You see, it's all advancing. This is major escalations to have Russian warships, and I think they even said they had a nuclear submarine there too, flying right off the coast of the United States, and now stationed in Cuba. It's a huge escalation, okay? And not only that, it seems like they want to go to war with Europe as well, because Europe is doing the same damn things. Okay? Germany, Olaf Scholz was talking about how he doesn't mind giving weapons to Ukraine. Macron, and in France there, Putin's about to start direct war with him because he's been pushing the situation so much and talking about how he might send troops there to go boots on the ground and whatnot. Oh yeah, many countries in the EU are escalating things, and by them escalating their threats, Putin's escalating his threats, and there's a lot of talk of direct war there. Germany's talking about reinstating the draft. It looks like that. Conscription. That means you're going to be forced to go fight. It's not good, and if it's going to happen there, you better believe it's eventually going to happen in the United States of America and Canada. Okay? Remember, don't fall into fear. A lot of this is designed just to put you in a state of fear so that you start manifesting that reality for them. If people do not manifest that reality, then it's not going to happen. Okay? As a collective, I should say. Okay? As a collective. If the collective were to not buy into the fear, then it wouldn't happen. If the collective does, then it might happen, but it's not necessarily going to affect you because you didn't fall into the fear, so you're just going to observe it, but everything's going to work out for you. That's the way it works. Pleiadians want me to tell you that. That's the way it works. Alright? So we have that whole situation, and keep in mind when you see all this stuff, this is all part of an NWO agenda, okay? Behind the scenes, I bet you Putin and Zelensky are cracking beers and having a good old time because they're all puppets of the WEF at the end of the day and of the powers that be, the Zionists and whatnot, okay? It's all a scripted show. This is a scripted reality. You're just watching a movie unfold, and it is a very interesting movie that's playing out. But just know, any day now, you might wake up and your reality might be totally different than it is right now. We're getting close to that day. Okay? You got to be aware of that. And you got to be ready for that if that does happen. That's why I say prepare now, because it might be too late to prepare. Don't leave it to the last second. Because they need a major crisis. And they need it very soon. And why do they need it? Because they need to introduce their new beast system, which is the digital IDs, which already they're starting to pass all these digital ID laws in certain parts of the world. I think Australia has just introduced something like that as well. That's right, but of course there's going to be major pushback against all that stuff, and already many countries have resisted the digital ID, so they need a certain crisis that's going to force people to go on that and introduce the CBDCs, which are all ready to go, and the social credit scores and all that, okay? And what better way than having some major conflict with these other countries? Okay, and blaming it on the war, and we need it for security, and also it's going to be for food. They're talking about food rationing. Germany's talking about getting things ready for food rationing. You're not going to be able to just go to the store and buy whatever you want. No, you're going to get what the government gives you, and you're not going to get it unless you have your digital ID. There's going to be no more money. There's going to be the CBDC, right? You're not going to be able to buy anything without the CBDC, and you're only going to get your universal basic income money to survive if you do everything they want you to do, which includes taking the things that they want you to get, if you know what I mean. Now let's get on to the next topic of the bird flu, because there's some major escalations there, and it involves things that they want you to get, okay? Oh yeah, Europe is talking about, ordering in a bunch of these things, even though the risk is low. Take a look.
The Commission's Health Emergency Preparedness and Response Authority, also known as HERA, has signed on behalf of 15 countries a joint contract for the supply of 665,000 pre-pandemic vaccine doses of the zoonotic influenza vaccine Seqirus. This contract also offers to these 15 countries the additional possibility to purchase a further 40 million doses of this vaccine over the next 4 years. I would like to stress, however, that so far the European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control, ECDC, currently assesses the risk of avian influenza for the general public as low, and that to date there have been no reported active cases of avian flu infections in the EU. Nevertheless, with today's contract, HERA is showing again the European Health Union in action by making sure that we are prepared.
There you go. So the risk is low. Nothing to worry about right now, but we need 40 million doses just in case. Meanwhile, the United States is in the process of acquiring these things, including also trying to develop mRNA things that they want you to get for the bird flu. Take a look. There you go, my friends. Oh, but the risk is low, but we gotta start doing this, right? And it's not only that you gotta worry about. The bird flu is perfect. It's perfect for the powers that be. Again, nothing's random. This is all orchestrated because they don't want us eating meat anymore. That's a big part of their plan, is to get humans off the meat, okay? So how do you do that? Well, you say that the meat supply is infected. You start killing all the chickens, killing all the cows, say, oh, they got the flu, and also, on top of that, it's also a good reason to start giving them the thing that they want you to get, and so the stuff that you do get before it's completely gone is going to be loaded with those nanotechnologies, and also the inflation is going to drive it way up, so it's going to get more and more difficult for people. Take a look at this video talking about all the chickens they're killing. Take a look.
Why is nobody talking about this? A poultry farm in southern Illinois caught fire and killed at least over 1 million chickens. 1 million chickens, people, and this isn't even the only time as of recently. Farmers recently had to kill 4.2 million chickens after the bird flu hit an Iowa egg farm. And look at the overall 92.34 million birds have been killed since the outbreak began in 2022. But I'm guessing nobody's heard about this outbreak, right? And that's not even the worst part. Crews are in the process of killing 4.2 million chickens after the disease was found at a farm in Sioux County, Iowa, making the latest in a years-long outbreak that now is affecting dairy cattle as well. In the week before this happened, the virus was confirmed at an egg farm west of Minneapolis, Minnesota, leading to the slaughter of nearly 1.4 million more chickens. And literally in May, not even a month ago, a second dairy farm worker was diagnosed with bird flu, and the virus was detected in both beef and milk, and it has been confirmed on dairy cattle farms in 9 states. But supposedly, health and agriculture officials have said that the risk to the public remains low. The U.S. Department of Agriculture supposedly said that the meat from single sick and dairy cow was not allowed to enter the nation's food supply, and beef remains safe to eat, even though it's highly contagious. Do you know how quickly bird flu can spread to cattle?
There you go, 93 million chickens. That's right, since 2022, and just recently they're killing off 4 million in one go because a couple chickens tested positive with the PCR test. Yeah, the PCR test, which has been proven not to be very accurate. Oh yeah, and then they say, oh, the first guy passed away because of the bird flu in Mexico. And they just released this now, even though this happened back in April. And the guy had all these other pre-existing conditions, was on his deathbed for like 3 weeks, passes on, they give him a PCR test, oh, he had the bird flu. I think now that's officially been declared by Mexico and whatnot that he did not pass on because of the bird flu. But that's what they are trying to shoot for. And doesn't that remind you of like a deja vu from what we just went through? You see, they're playing all the same scams. I don't know if they're going to use this bird flu to have it as the next lockdown situation and force things they want you to get and all that. I'm not sure. Or if it's just to get rid of the meat supply and drive inflation up, get us on the crickets. I don't know. But all I know is they're planning a big world situation with sicknesses very soon because they just passed the pandemic treaty. Very, very bad news. At first, they rejected it, and it said it's not going to pass. And then a few days later, individually with all the other countries, they made amendments and passed pretty much the same thing. And it's going to be in effect by this time to 2025, May 2025, or it could be even sooner in 2024, that old Tedros guy was talking about. And once they get that passed, World Health Organization, whatnot, have the power to do anything they want, lock you down, or the countries will force you to take certain things. They're also saying that you can't spread misinformation. And if you do, you get locked up in jail. They'll come lock you up. It's going to be a big crackdown, which is very important when these things happen, that you start speaking in code more, kind of like old Plato and whatnot did. You got to speak in parables, metaphors, whatnot, so you don't get locked up. You gotta speak in code. That's how a lot of history has been. All these ancient texts speaking in metaphors. Well, it could have been like because of that. They didn't want to get in any trouble, so they had to be careful how they spoke so people could decode it. The smart ones will do that as the years go on. And I'm going to be doing that. I might be saying too much right now, but crazy times, my friends. But do not be in fear of these things. As I said before, this is part of the game. You're within a game. Okay, you want to beat the game? Just observe it. It's a movie. Observe it as the movie it is. Don't fall into the fear. Everything's just going to keep on working for you. Everything's just going to turn out your way. Okay? That's how it works. That's how it works. Because that's what you perceive. That's what you believe. That's what you know with your faith. So that's what's going to manifest. But the minute you start saying, oh no, this is happening, this is going to, well, that's what you're going to attract. Okay? End of the day, like I said, the difficulties is just going to increase. There's much more things going on in the world too. That was just a few examples, but this video is going to be too long if I go through everything. But those are the main things I want to bring to people's attention. Of course, we got the election coming up in the United States, which I've made many videos on that, and I'll continue to make more videos as we go along, as the months go by. But of course, they want civil war in America, and they got some crazy things planned. So, hold on, my friends. Don't fall into the fear. Stay positive, keep your vibrations high, and manifest the reality you want, manifest the timeline you want. Don't ignore all this stuff. Do your best to spread the message. Share this video. Tell people what's going on. Expose the powers that be. Don't fear them, but expose them. It's time to bring these bastards down, right? But by ignoring it, it's not going to go away. A lot of people want to ignore the negative. That's not the solution either. We address it straight on. We know we're going to be okay, and we try and spread that message with other people. We tell them don't comply with what they want. Don't give them your consent to kill you, okay? Because a lot of the things they're doing, they're getting your consent to do. You're going to go to the ballot box and vote for Trump or whatever. You're giving them your consent to kill you. I made a video on that too, okay? Which I'll link at the end of this video. But don't give them your consent to do any of these things. Don't fall into fear. Keep your vibrations high. Spread the word. Be in service to others. We got this, okay? Let's shift the collective as well. The collective needs to hear this. Because right now, we're not even close to shifting the collective. But if more and more people keep spreading these messages, and the great awakening continues, well, eventually, hopefully, let's manifest it. We will shift the collective and the powers that be will fail. And we might shut down this 3D grid once and for all and send those dirty lizards and their 4D AI demiurge back where they came from. Old Scumbag Valley. Alright, my friends, that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, subscribe if you did. I'm also on Patreon for more content, so join me there. We got Ascent to 5D class, Occult class, Health class, tons of great stuff, channelings, you name it. Link is down below in the description box. And hey, if you'd like to just simply buy old Linol a coffee for his efforts, help support the channel, means the world to me, and I'll even send you free videos to your email. So the link to that is down below to that website. Any support means the world to me, but of course it always means the most when you guys just leave a comment, let me know what you thought of today's video and what your mindset is going into all this, and I love to hear it. Alright, my friends, thank you so much. We'll have a new video coming shortly, so stay tuned. Until then, old Linol signing off. Hope you guys have a good one.